Well, welcome to the 115th show of the Dave and Dave. But did you notice what is on that screen over there? Can you read that far, my friend? It is now the Dave versus Dave show. Ooh. I am going to be the antagonist for this Dave all the time. Although it is a Dave versus Dave show inside of my brain every single day. Which Dave will win?
Me.
No, not that Dave. The Dave, the calling, the Marlon Brando Dave versus the Scarface Dave, right? So, here we are, May 12th, in one of the craziest markets I've ever seen in my 21-year career. And I lost today. You want to know why I lost?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I have been able to insulate myself from the wackiness of this market. Not being pulled in. First of all, firewall of our two amazing brokers, taking up a lot of the emotions and all of the drama and just the heaviness of what's going on in the market, right? I've been getting a couple of texts here and there. Hey, can you put in a good word for me and this and that from some people that I like and respect along and around the industry that may not be at Urban Nest. The truth of the matter is there's nothing I can do. I can't just call my agent and say, hey, can you please tell your seller to take this person's offer, right?
Even though it's not the highest and best.
Exactly.
And I got a cash offer higher. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's this morning, before I went for my morning walk at 5:30 a.m., I made the mistake of reading my emails. And I let myself get triggered, which nowadays I'm kind of an old wily veteran and I'm very desensitized to the market.
Well, you're old now, I agree.
And I usually don't fall for it. I usually could let it slide. But this email was so condescending, patronizing, and assumptive about our agent accepting their own offer on a deal. Now, I've gotten multiple people reaching out about this deal. So I'm going to give some context without giving away the agent and the deal because I want people to understand what's going on, and there's a lot to learn from this scenario. So you're going to have to stay with me on this one because he has no context. He's walking in completely
blind
and cold. So basically topic one, I put, no one owes you anything in this market. There should not be any entitlement. For instance, if you think you're going to get a counter or a highest and best, you could be wrong. That's not necessarily going to happen. When there's 74 offers and 75, people are going to just reject your offer. The fact that people think and buyer's agents think, let me feel this situation out, I believe is a situation where you're not reading the room correctly, you're not understanding the market, you're not...
You also have to read the listing. Like one of the agents got yelled at yesterday for not answering a cash offer. And he answered it 3 days. And it said right in the comments, buyer's agent needs to know sellers are in XX.
Yo.
And it's going to take 3 to 4 days to get an answer.
Yo.
And our agent calls back and the other agent says to him, well, it's about time, my buyers are so pissed off. In which he quoted, did you not read the comments?
Exactly.
So in fairness to everyone on the screen, if you're going to complain, read the comments.
Yo.
Read what it says all the way through the listing so you understand what's going on.
So I wrote this thing, if you're a buyer's agent and fail to inform your buyer to come strong, come heavy with their offer, then it's your fault, not the seller or the listing agent. Got to know what's going on. So here's the context. There's a listing that's a hot listing. $699,999. Okay? People reaching out all over the place. I had an agent who was a friend of mine say, hey, can you put in a good word? Another agent from a previous brokerage that you were the general manager of reached out, although the cojones on him with the mouth he has to even ask for a favor. Good luck. Which is also hysterical to me when people act a certain way and then have the audacity to ask for a favor, but regardless, not that we can even make things magically happen. And then an agent emails me that email I'm telling you about, saying, how could she have double-ended it? We came in at 725, okay? We were willing to go all cash, and we were willing to go higher. Your agent should have at least given us a chance at this. And I had this whole email out like, listen, buddy. And he didn't like this. I actually called him. And I tried being fair to him, and he got aggressive. So I had to tell him some real truth facts that people may not necessarily like. I could not hear a word he was saying. It was bad connection. So he hung up and then sent me another pass. I expected more of you, this little person. Anyway, here's the thing. This is what I said to him. I said, listen, you're an experienced agent from what I understand. I really don't know this guy.
Not.
And at least he thinks he is. And if you know what market we're in, he's like, we would have went 800 cash. And I said, well, then why wouldn't you have? Why not lead with, if you think in this market or in life, you're going to be able to get a second shot, good luck, right? So I was like, no, the room you're in.
Well, the first misconception of that is every agent thinks that the seller or the seller's agent must pick the top 3 or 4 and go back with highest and best. That is their biggest mistake. Mm-hmm. If the seller says, I like this offer, it suits me, I don't want to go back with highest and best, the deal is done. Done.
So I can understand, right? It looks like, oh, the agent got both sides and it says conventional. What they don't know is, and I can't tell too much, but the down payment is like 80% of the purchase price. So it's as close to cash as you can get, right?
Right.
And he got beat out by like $60,000 to $70,000, right? So here's the difference of this guy and then the guy who's a friend of mine, right? Who texts me, hey, and I said, listen, it went into escrow. He takes a look, he's like, oh, double-ended and not cash. I said, buddy, the range, I'll give you a range, 775 to 790. He said, oh, we offered 715 cash. He's like, we weren't even in the vicinity. So he was a class act. Like, we weren't paying that. Like, obviously we wanted the shot, but you know what? I can go back to my buyer and say, listen, they almost got 20%, or excuse me, 15%, or 10 to 15% more, right?
Well, and then there's the next distinction to this whole conversation. If your seller says to divulge the other offers to the other agents bringing it in, you could do that. If your seller says, I have a 750 offer, if you don't write it, don't waste my time, the listing agent could divulge that. But everyone's assuming, because it was a double-ended deal, that the seller didn't get the best price. In this case, obviously the seller
got
did.
the best price. So nobody lost.
Right.
Except for the buyers that didn't come in.
No, I beg to differ. The respect of the agent that you previously respected, showing that he couldn't handle losing, goes down in a little bit of a loss column.
I think there's a life lesson here that everyone likes to blame the things that don't go right in their life on everybody other than themselves. And, you know, I understand. You have, this just happened in my community where a house was listed at $995 that should have been at $125, and people just didn't know what to do with this house. They didn't understand the community. It should have been listed at 1299, or excuse me, 1199, 200,000. So I'm sure people came in at 995 or 1 million or 1,050,000. They didn't understand. I get it, but this is where you got to do your homework and you got to be aggressive. Like, for instance, we told a buyer that was interested, You got to go 1-2 or you're not going to get it. The buyer went 1-1-2-8 and they didn't get it. If they would have went 1-2 strong, at the very least, they would have had to take a hard look at that offer, because the true good offer is going to push everything out.
Yeah, and let's talk about like your reverence deal we were talking about yesterday, and price doesn't matter here, but the lot premium they let you bid on. And let's just say it was a starting bid at 175. It was on the mountain, the first lot.
So he's talking about in 2017. Reverence just opened. I saw the beauty of this view, even though it was super in the north. It's in Summerlin, but it didn't feel like Summerlin. These lots were majestic, and they opened up bidding at 100. Let's go with 175, and there were multiple people
that were gonna put a bid, gonna do it.
13 people ready to put a bid in.
Gonna do it, Dave.
People are like, this is insane. Now, in all fairness, I'll give Pulte a shout out. I'd rather have a shot to bid on it, right, than have some crazy lottery or some who sleeps over. Remember, you guys had to sleep over and go in line. So when I talked to my wife about this, I wanted to go 200. I was like, let's just go strong, because that's who I am. I'm a risk taker. She was like, let's see what's meant to be. Let's just be one of the people who bid.
Right, with a crazy number.
And I said, we can't bid at the number. We have to go high. So I think we did like 175, 777. Turns out 10 people didn't bid. I think one other person bid, and they bid
exactly price,
and I won by like $777.
Which the point I'm trying to make to this example is, if your buyer in this market says offer $750 but I'll go $8, the answer I'm giving you, stop assuming they got to come back with highest and best. Offer $8. If that's what they think the house is worth, offer that price, because now everyone's got tiny tears because they lost it. Yeah, and when your lot came out, all the agents came up to you and I.
How did Dave get it?
Oh, I thought, my buyer, he wanted it, but he didn't want to bid, and we thought, Dave and I discussed it. I sold in 2001 a mountain lot in Red Rock for $150,000 lot premium. Here we are, fast forward to 2017 with a gorgeous mountain view, nothing compared to the one in Red Rock, at 175. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but everybody wanted the 175 when it was up to $350,000 lot premium prior to this insanity.
Right. Now, that being said, here's where experience counts. I'm sorry, but these brokers in this company, between Dave and I and Georgia and Jennifer, we probably have 140 years or over 100 years.
Just because you have 100 years and you're putting the 40 on the
I have 40. I have 44.
I have 20.
That's well, you have
61.
20.
61. 64.
Right, and then Georgia has about 20. It's 84, and the other one has Jen has like 16. We're about over 100 years.
You said 140.
Well, I rephrased.
Okay. Listen, own your shit. Whether you like it or not, and you like the way I said it or not, I don't care. Because the reality is, you have to go all in. You cannot blame the market. You can't blame somebody else. If someone else gets the girl because you didn't ask her out, you can't just claim her. You got to have the courage to go. If the market goes up and you didn't invest in crypto, but you knew it was going to, sorry, you didn't go. Unfortunately, that's the game. Own it. If you didn't feel comfortable going for it and you held back, own that too. I was having a conversation about this market, and someone was asking me, and I said, listen, I'm pretty confident in two things, pretty much one thing, and that is following my gut. I own a business, and I don't mind investing in other people's businesses that I believe in, that I can see. I really don't know the stock market well. I really don't know crypto well. I know real estate. I know running a real estate company. I know running a business. That's my strong thing. I am going to hold back cash for when things do change, but at the same time, I'm going to strategically invest in my business, myself, my Angie's real estate team, and things that I understand. By coaching and consulting, that's where I'm going to go. If a friend or some opportunity comes, I invest in that, great. But you know what? I'm not going to have regret because I'm going to follow my gut. And if I'm going to be wrong, I want to be wrong with my gut, not someone else's gut. My gut.
Can I sing my way now? I mean, it's.
But you understand this?
I totally do.
So worried about like, well, this analyst said this and this analyst said that. Follow your gut.
Yeah.
This way, if it does work out, it doesn't work out. You don't have to be like, oh, I should have listened to this person.
You only have yourself to blame. Accountability.
That's where I want to be.
You bet. And in this, to wrap it up, as he would say, in this market, stop doing. I expect a counteroffer. Oh, the listing agent. Listen, if the listing agent wants to sell the property, you want me to tell you how many companies do 0 days and it comes out sold?
So what he means is it never even hits the market. So in this situation, this is where like I didn't want to get into a pissing match with this guy because he was obviously going this way. This young guy, his shit doesn't stink. I was like, listen, I'm an old bull at this point, right?
Hey, what am I?
You're like, forget it. I don't even know. Your horns are probably this long by now. I think the older you are, the longer your horns are. And he's like, oh, even the Facebook that this 8-year agent has was like, we got so many offers and so much activity. And I wanted to be like, well, if you're looking at her Facebook and you see that there's so much activity and she's actually marketing that, then why would you start with this offer? You're actually proving your entire point.
Well, in the old days, to be fair, before this crazy market, so 6 months ago is the old days, a lot of agents would counter. They'd get 2 or 3 offers and they'd counter highest and best. We are not in that market now. So if you are a realtor and you are working with buyers, tell them, hit me with your best shot.
Listen, I tell Ella all the time, like my oldest daughter, she could be a little awkward and say things that she shouldn't say at the certain time. And I'm like, you got to know your audience. And even more so, read the room. And knowing the market and knowing if they, how I knew this thing was underpriced? When our agent posted this and I looked at it, I was like, maybe I should buy it. If I'm saying maybe I should buy it, it's underpriced.
And I don't even know the situation.
You know what I'm talking
but
about.
I know the house because when I looked at it, I said, woo, can I swim in that pool?
Exactly. So, missed opportunity, fine. Like, be humble. This guy had an opportunity to be like, well, if you think that you respect me and you're disappointed I reacted like by giving you a little truth serum, maybe take like a moment to be like, maybe there's something I can learn from this situation, And I understand it. You want to control it? You want to guarantee, and this is not even a guarantee, go get more listings. But even then, we teach our agents, you do not represent both sides unless every party benefits. Your seller must get the most money possible with the best terms, or your seller is happy. They have to understand everything. The buyer has to understand where they're coming from. If the seller's okay with you telling the buyers where to come at and where to go, fine. This guy didn't even lose by $1,000. He lost by like 60, almost 10%. And
I know.
Oh, well, we're going to, then second time in a week, and this is where I didn't even tell you about the other one. Another broker had the audacity to threaten an attorney for something that our agent didn't even do wrong. And I had to stop myself from texting him back, you target my agents all the time and you're threatening me with an attorney? I was like, I got one on retainer. But the reality is, he's like, oh, I'll put an ethics complaint. And I said, we welcome it. We welcome it. Because if you're going to sit in arbitration or a mediation and say that you didn't have a good shot and the house sold for 10 to 15% more than your best offer, you're going to lose. In a jury of your peers, you're going to lose. Right? It's just a reality. This is something that... So, I'm passionate about this, Pops, and it really opened up this... I refuse to let things go by without getting a gift from them today. Right? And another situation this morning with a friend of mine, he was like, I've sent you an email, you haven't addressed it. And I said, you know what? I own that 100%. That's my fault, and I apologize to him, right? Like, I'll own my things. But in this case, man, know what's going on. And our agents and the agents out there, this is the call. This is the wake-up call. Don't mess around. they don't owe you anything. You could be the best friend of somebody. I mean, we reached out to a buddy of ours over on the east side. That's not with the company, but a good friend of mine. And we were like, hey, what do we got to do? And he was just like, you're not going to be able to beat this. You know, like, you don't. He didn't owe me anything or Angie anything, like,
right,
at all. The most you could ask for is a shot. And there was multiple chances for this person to win. You get what I'm saying?
I do, and you have to give. I made an offer on a property. With my commission, it was $20,000 higher than list. The broker called me back. He says, great offer, all cash, $20,000 higher than list. He goes, I have $50,000.
The one in California.
And he said, I have $50,000 higher than list. And I said, good luck to you. Thank you. He said, Dave, you really set the pace with your offer. And I said, thank you. I'm glad the seller did better because of my offer. But the reality was I had a price in mind, and I put the offer in at the highest price I felt comfortable buying. I didn't cry that he sold it himself. I didn't cry he sold it himself.
It's the nature of the business. And I empathize. Listen, I empathize with our buyer's agents. Listen, our broker roundtable yesterday, we had agents like really distraught over what's going on. The competition for listings, the competition for getting your buyer in. Buyers, I empathize with them. If you don't have extra money to come over a list and waive your appraisal and waive your firstborn, you're not going to get a house, and that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
And agents are going on, saying, "Wow, I got it 10,000 on the list and this and that," but it isn't. I'm going to say this without being rude. It isn't an A desirability property. There's A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Desirability. Not but desirability. And an A desirability is the one you're paying over list, you're waiving the appraisal, you're paying the seller's closing costs. Because everybody wants it. That's how it A. Not neighborhood, everybody wants it. A B property, most of the people want it. A C property is some of the people want it. And a D property is none of the people want it.
And that's the thing. Like, I go back to the metaphor with the prettiest girl in the room. You're not, if she has the pick of whatever man she wants, you're not going to have the option. It's like The Bachelorette. You got to get in your best work right now. Your best foot forward. You may not get an opportunity to have a one-on-one with her. You better get it right there, show who you are, and get out. Because she's not going to come back and what's your highest and best. There's too many options. She doesn't have the time for that, right? So if you are an A desirability, which this house was, come strong. If you would have said to me like, hey, we got a 775, 785, 795, but you can't say to me 800 cash is what we're willing to do, and you come in at 725 contingency or with a loan contingency. I'm like, well, you would have, could have, should have, Yeah. I should have invested, $100,000 in Dogecoin when it was a penny, right?
Dogecoin, I like it. Deutschland.
All right, so here are the numbers that are super interesting. I got them right here. Us being past presidents, we used to do the monthly stats. Now Aldo's president, he's doing it. But we used to come with year over year appreciation versus month over month. Now, we had a 3.3% rise in month over month, but that doesn't show or tell the whole story.
Can we go with 2013 when I was the president?
And then the price was going the other way.
And we were going the other way?
So, for our agents, I wrote the following on Friday when the numbers came.
Very great post.
And I was like, listen, here we go. Let's go month by month to see what is happening. So January, the median price was $345,000 of single-family resale homes. February, $355,000. Boom. March, $363,000. And here we are, month-end April, we're up to $375,000.
Which we all predicted. In our broker roundtable, we kept saying that it's going to be insane.
From the beginning of the year till today, in Las Vegas market has grown almost 10%. To be exact, in 4 months, 9.2%. I don't
Insanity.
think anyone could have predicted
That's
that.
usually a yearly appreciation
10%
with the
appreciation.
sats. Yeah.
Listen, it jumped 3.3% in 1 month. 1 month. If we see that over 12 months, you're looking at 36%. If
Well,
we
let's just go 33. A third of 100%. Well, it's going to become unaffordable.
even if we stay at the same rate of just the first 4 months, we're at a 28%. Year over year from April of 2020, which, albeit we were in the middle of a pandemic, but yet prices still already solid, we're up 21% year over year.
It's no good.
So I basically said, here's the other caveat. A way to see how quickly, and if this agent looked at these stats, 82% of homes are going into escrow within 30 days. Normal numbers are like 58 to 65% of houses are going into escrow. It means 8 out of 10 houses are gone
And
within 30 days.
And understand, that's from $200,000 to $2 million.
Yep.
It's not just, the low end, the mid end. It is low end, mid end, high end. Everything's going into escrow if it's the house a house, I'll say.
So listen, take one guess when the last time we saw this kind of growth, and then I wrote, how high can we go? Is this growth sustainable? When is affordability going to start playing a role? Now, I think I've touched upon a lot of the potential issues. Regardless of the money supply in circulation, which there is more with stimulus money, our debt has gone up quicker than we've ever seen. Regardless of that.
Between the last two presidents, our debt has gone up
ridiculously. I mean, listen, Mother's Day, I was down at the Strip. I brought Angie and the girls to Mona Amiga B, which is the first date Angie and I ever went on. Probably the last time going to Mona Amiga. But it was super interesting bringing her through the Bellagio and the conservatory. Wanted to stop at one of the luxury places and get her a Mother's Day gift. Gotta love my wife, one of the few women in the entire world who refuses to let me spend big money on her. Oh, it's not worth it. Oh, I don't want to kill a cow. Love my wife, right?
I'm with her.
So anyway, long story short, you look at Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, these high-end places that you can't
Were they busy?
the store without spending a minimum of about $2,000. Okay?
Were they busy?
Busy. It was almost like take a ticket for your spot in the soup line, right? I mean, you would think that they were giving away Louis Vuitton for free.
Give it away now.
I'm not a judgmental person. And maybe there is people who look like they have money and look like they don't. But I feel like I make a pretty decent amount of money. I'm a fairly successful businessman. My wife is successful. And yet I think twice before I spend that kind of money. It's a special occasion. It's something that I do. We don't really just go out and spend money on luxury goods just for the hell of it. And I'm thinking, where is everyone getting this money? Where is this money coming from?
There's many sources.
So, I'm a little concerned that the price of goods and the way people are spending money, that eventually the musical chairs are going to end. So
It may.
So the affordability factor, let's talk about that. What did I say yesterday about the California market versus this market? When should we be concerned?
Well, what you said, and which is true, when Las Vegas becomes as expensive or a little less expensive as the places in California that they're coming to see, which is like 47% of our business, then they're going to say, I might as well stay here. And that's when we're in trouble.
So, in layman's terms, it's not just Orange County. Let's just go inland.
No, it's all over.
You got people who are like, all right, I'm done with California taxes. I'm done with whatever about California. I'm going to go to Vegas. I can get a mansion. I can get a guard-gated house for, at one point, $1 million. Maybe $2 million.
But that being said, your point is well taken.
I'll finish.
We're
there,
much less than, say, Phoenix, which right now is the number one selling market,
Yep.
and we are still so much less expensive. So if people are looking to do that exodus, we still are the less expensive place to go.
I agree. You know, and an extension of the conversation. Let's just put this one to bed real quick, and then we'll talk about, is Las Vegas actually undervalued as a whole? But hold that thought. Ultimately, there's a certain bubbles of California that the quality of life is amazing if money is not an object. Fair?
On the beach in Laguna.
72 degrees all year, 80 degrees, like it's why everyone wants to live there, right? Regardless of the sunshine tax and all that stuff.
Sunshine.
If prices rise too quickly in Las Vegas, Arizona, Idaho, Texas, compared to prices rising in those gorgeous Newport, Laguna, people are going to say, listen, Idaho is up and coming. I'd love to live in Coeur d'Alene on the lake. I'd love to live in Boise. But it's not Newport Beach. I'd love to live in Summerlin. I'd love to live in Red Rock Country Club. But it's not Pelican Hill. So that is something to keep an eye on. Because if it gets even remotely close, or if you see a plateau or dip in the California market, then I think there will be a butterfly effect for all those markets I talked about. Right?
I agree.
So, but now the second point, though, in favor of Vegas, are we just the most undervalued major city out there?
Hallelujah.
Are we?
Yes.
You believe that?
Yes.
When are we not?
When are we not? When the median price goes to 4.25 or something, then we're not.
But our average price is already there.
I know that, but understand also, the thing about Las Vegas is we have a very strong middle class, but they are not high paid.
I disagree that we have a strong middle class. I think we have a huge have and have not.
No, I agree with that too. But what I'm saying is, when I say middle class, there's a lot of people working, say, on the strip and whatever. And I'm going to be a little controversial here. Everybody says, well, the damn people are getting unemployment and the stimulus and they're not going to work.
Some truth to that.
Okay, but then look at the people that aren't going to work. For $7.50 an hour, they're getting the unemployment and the stimulus, and they're making a better living on unemployment and the stimulus than they are by going to work. That shows you there's something wrong with what we're paying our people.
One way or another, that the market will. I agree. Listen, no one in our company makes less than $15 an hour. That's just the way we do it. We take care of our people. I believe the more you pay, you'll find it really good. That being said, if the free market is, and I know it's not necessarily a free market, but eventually they have to fill the spots, right? So if they fill them up, then they can reverberate back. If they have to, and they can, it's called level setting your staff on where they should be, right? Fine. That being said, the owners can't have their cake and eat it too, right? So that would be like us firing everyone during the pandemic and expecting them to come back and work for less.
Exactly.
Right?
How many did we fire during?
Nobody.
Thank you.
But yeah, that there was an opportunity for casinos and other companies.
How
to
much
kind of start
salaries did we take during the pandemic?
The first 3 months, 0.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is,
but I've given up expecting what we are. I've given up.
I don't expect anything out of anybody.
Because it's very self-righteous to sit here and say that, though.
I don't expect anything out of anybody. I just want to live in common sense. And the market...
So eventually it's going to play itself out. Because what's going to happen is the stimulus is running out. The unemployment's running out.
The eviction...
Biden came on and said, if you get a job offer and you don't take it, we're pulling the unemployment. And then at the same time, they're going to start having to hire people. This will work itself out. It
will, and so will the moratorium. Love or like the governor, I'll get into this. The CDC said the moratorium's over June 30th. Our governor said June 1st, it's over. You have from June 1st to June 30th to work it out.
Yep.
In other words, say to the landlord, we're going to go in a mediation.
How did you even get to this point?
And we're just talking about everything going on. And our state is going to be a little different. And June 1st, people better start thinking of a plan either to pay it back or to leave it.
So then let's make this part of actually what we're talking about.
Well, it's going to be.
Do you think the lifting of the moratorium is going to actually loosen up the market? Because what we did not mention the 100 houses, the 200 houses, we don't just do monthly statistics with us. We do it weekly. We want the tiniest changes. I can't take credit for this. This is his idea. This is one of your few Urban Nest ideas. Just kidding. Your weekly stats. What has happened the last 2 weeks?
The inventory went up by over 300 homes.
You got it. So first, exactly. So we haven't seen that in a while either. And when you're talking 300 homes, when there's usually only 2,100 or 1,900 homes on the market, you're talking 10, 12% rise. Now, more houses are going into
Now,
escrow.
you're asking me.
More houses are going into escrow.
Yes.
So it hasn't,
Stay the same or
it hasn't
more.
hurt
No.
the activity. And obviously the story we led with is showing how insane
The prices are still there.
Exactly.
Now, June 1st, if that landlord could evict, here's the big question. Do you want, because I think what everyone needs to understand, this isn't big corporations, they're mom and pop.
They're
I'm
both.
a mom, I know,
They're both.
but I'm mom and pop,
They're
right?
both.
No, I agree. But the big corporation, to make my point, you're missing it. The big corporations, they're not going to sell the houses. They're going to just put them back, move on, because it's corporation conglomerate. They're not. But the mom and pop, and I consider myself mom and pop because I had my own house and 3 rentals most of the time. Would I want a rental again?
It just depends how much you
Aggravation.
understand the game. There's a huge amount of clients who are mom and pop and be like, I'm done, I'm out.
And that's going to increase
and
inventory.
not only that they're out because they realize they can cash out big money, right?
Two factors.
And they don't want to deal with another
2
potential
factors.
shutdown.
They never thought they'd be allowed to not get paid rent and not be able to do anything. That is beyond reason, right?
Yep.
Did you ever hear of it before? That's one. And 2, to your point, oh my God, if I decide to paint and do work, this is going to be the best price I could ever get from my rental. So from June 1st to June 30th, is the inventory going to take an increase again?
And it's not necessarily an increase. There's about 500 to 700 homes on the market that can't even be sold without a tenant in it.
Right.
Right. So
Of course, you can't evict them.
exactly. So even if the available inventory doesn't go up, it will go up just inside of the 2,200 houses, because right now it's about 1,400 houses that are truly available.
Right.
A true 2,100 houses may be available come June 1st.
But you can't. Right.
Which is a 30% increase in
Right.
what's available.
And let me give a little shout out. Tenants, if you're a tenant and you couldn't pay your rent, please go to the government. There are programs that you could make up the rent. You could get forgiven some of the rent. Landlords, if you didn't get paid rent, there are programs to get some rent in your pocket and to keep the tenant. So my answer to both is, I'm not like trashing tenants, because some tenants...
Listen, there's gray areas.
some tenants lost their job, needed all this money to survive. But there's programs for both. But my point I'm trying to make, come June 1st, you better get in a program or evictions are going to come again.
If you haven't been paying your rent.
Right.
And
Which in Las Vegas, about 9% are not paying their rent.
And here's the thing. He's talking about a couple of things. Politically, I'm not even, you know me. I'm the guy who's like, I can give 2 shits. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. But I've learned to live in the gray. I hate the pieces like, oh, this poor mom and pop landlord, remember this one? Can't pay her own bills because...
Well, that happened to people.
I understand, but it's anecdotal. For every one of those people, there's a corporation that can absorb it.
Yes.
Just like for every tenant that takes full advantage of the system, can absolutely pay their rent.
Never lost their job.
But doesn't, there's another tenant that was a bartender or worked at concerts, that without that program, they were screwed.
Right.
That's being a leader. That's life. Even owning Urban Nest, every time we come up with a rule, unfortunately, we try not to do this, it's a rule that affects 495 agents, but unfortunately, the fact is we're trying just to make sure that 5 bad actors aren't going to screw us over. That's not getting sued and things like that. That's the way we live. But I'm interested to see how it happens. Now let's go back. Let's bring it all the way back to the other side. On the phone, lumber, just lumber, not for even builders. Lumber for people to go to Home Depot and like do a project. They're running out.
Let me give you.
They're running out.
Let me give you a great story.
They're running out. Builders are running out of shit.
I'm painting outside of my house, right?
Yep.
Now, I haven't made a decision yet on paint colors. So I went, it's a Sherwin-Williams paint.
Yep.
So I went to Sherwin-Williams and said, oh, can I have 4 pints of these 4 paints? I want to paint my house and see how it looks. They said, oh, sorry, we can't sell you pints here. I said, what? He said, yeah, we gave our pints to Lowe's because they're our biggest customer. So if you want samples of the paint, Sherwin-Williams paint, go to Lowe's and they could give it to you.
Because
they're so short of paint that they can't. They gave it to another one. So for me to pick over there, it's a 30-gallon. So to look, it would cost me $120 to look at what paint I want.
So while we were looking around with Angie for these things, I walked in the Rolex store.
Oh, that sounds like you. The man that has 750 watches.
I was like, maybe I'll get her a Rolex.
Oh, okay.
Right? But at the same time, I'm like, where are all the men's? Sir was sold out. No men's. So we're looking, and I don't know what a Rolex is, 20 grand, 15 grand. I'm not buying it, but we wanted to look. I finally get her to actually say, I like this one. Well, that's platinum and blue, and I'm like, all right, I get prepared. That's a $67,000 watch, and I'm like,
could buy a condo still. You could buy.
How the hell is a Rolex $67,000? Then I'm hearing that you can't even buy a used car. So my lease is up.
Yeah, you can't buy a used car.
So I'm going to see what the residual is. There's a great chance that I am going to buy out my lease and keep my car because I'm going to take it to CarMax first and get the value on it, and then I'm going to see if it's worth more than the value.
Well,
and I may just drive that thing even more rather than spend $30,000 over list for some other car.
For used, I'll give you a good fact.
Go for it.
I had the Porsche lease, and I had now this lease on the car you have. And
not the same car. You got the cheap one.
Oh, I got the cheaper one.
He's got the Range Rover Sport. I'm just joking.
He's
I love busting his
He's
chops
such a little
bitch. Just
yes.
say it. See, let yourself free. Just be you.
All right.
Just let it out. See, Dave versus Dave. Got a little fire under there. You got a little energy today.
So what they said was Porsche lease, it's horrible to buy them because it's so bad.
The residual's terrible.
Residual's terrible. On the Range Rover lease, it's easier to buy them because they give you a better price when the lease. So, my friend, you may be in a good spot.
I may do it, but now, here's where
if we could get gas to fill it, you'll be... East Coast.
That's what all the Tesla memes, because Angie has the Tesla. She's laughing, going, I'll just plug it in, right?
Right.
But what I could do is say, wow, we're doing really well. Real estate's great. The economy's great. I can go out and go buy a Mercedes G-Wagon that is like $40,000 more, and then they want $40,000 more on top of that, and I refuse to do it.
But let me ask you something.
I refuse to spend $67,000 for a Rolex. I refuse because the reality. All right, I'm gonna segue this at the topic number 3, but you go.
Isn't that the same as buying a house right now, though? Don't the
Yes.
people realize that if they do want to buy a house, they have to buy it over appraisal, over what it's worth? Why would you do that in today's market? There's a secret there that...
One's an asset, one's a liability.
Yeah, and then the...
One pays me back,
what,
and one doesn't.
What makes it off?
It's the interest rate as
the
well.
The interest rate is so low...
But one's an asset, and one's
you're
a
right.
liability.
See, great points. And then the interest rate being so low. I spoke to a lender the other day.
One, I could write off my lease, but still, I could depreciate it again. There's so many ways. Like, it comes down to, if the market changes and I'm stuck at a 2.8% or a 3% interest rate, and I'm writing off my primary, and I know over time it'll go up, and I'm paying it off, that's a sound investment.
You
You're
bet.
really not supposed to look at your home as an investment. If you keep it long enough,
It's a safe bet.
It's a safe bet.
Not like the Kentucky Derby.
So, the topic number 3 was this. I've seen this movie before. Now, I did this video. It was a fantastic video, if I say so myself. I had people...
If you say so yourself, go ahead.
Well, I do a lot of videos, and I had people say, wow, I had people sharing it. It got shared like 30 times, and I pressed the wrong button. I said, hold it for 30 days. So it's one of my videos that disappeared.
Oh.
It was a great video.
Sorry.
So anyway, I've seen this movie before. It was about 3-4 months ago, and I was like, listen, agents, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Keep your ethics, play the long game, do the right thing, like this guy didn't do, right? But here's where I've seen it even more.
I don't think the guy didn't do the right thing. I think he got upset for the wrong reasons.
Listen, social media is a beautiful thing. I did look at his social media, I'm not a friend with him, and it was like, this is the best merger, the most significant merger you've ever seen. I mean, listen, this is where this guy was coming from. And I don't care if you're watching. You'll see. So, but my point is, and maybe I'm being wrong for being catty. My point is this. I've seen this movie before. You have too. Maybe you haven't. Here's the reality, folks. We own a real estate company. The largest real estate company back, I'm not even going to say the company because I feel bad even mentioning it because how it ended. You know what I'm going to say? The guy who owned Liberty Realty, it was over 2,000 agents. It was the number 1 in agents and volume company. 10 offices, 12 offices.
It was huge.
The guy made a ton of money. Was it Richard Bell? And he lost it all. And it ended up with him taking his own life on Christmas Day because he went from having it all to losing it all. Because he bought a yacht, he went and found himself, he thought it would never end.
You never know why people.
Another owner down the street, I think it was a Remax, ended up drinking battery fluid and trying to take his life. Like, listen, these are absolutely drastic examples. But what's interesting is, when 2008 happened, people who were at the top of their game, realtors, there's another realtor in Red Rock was at the top of his game, lost everything. Everything. And they had to build back, right? But there was an opportunity that opened up for a new company that we helped build. They were the beneficiaries of the change, right, of 2008. So when you see this, most millionaires that ever been created were during the Depression. I would venture to say that right now is giving it for a run for its money. From the 2008 to now, a 13-year run. But when I said I've seen this movie before, don't fool yourself. It will end eventually. And right before it ends, there's Irrational Exuberance. Is a fantastic book. And people are like, it can't end. The government won't let it end. No one will. Well, why did the government let Lehman Brothers fail? Right?
It ends.
Powers that it'll end. It could be in 3 years. It could be in 5 years. It could be in 12 months. That you have to keep that in mind. I wrote here, and I was being a little bit sarcastic, but I wrote, in the next 4 years, who's going to own your home, your Lamborghini, and your Rolex for half of what you paid for it? Right?
Thank God I don't have any of those things.
What I'm saying is just be smart. Be smart. This is a magnificent time to really audit your business, invest in yourself, invest in the things that matter. But I'd rather you, and this is the Coach Dave here, I'd rather you invest in your skills, in a business for yourself. I'd rather you be smart with your money, don't over leverage yourself, and take advantage of the situations you can take advantage of and leverage. But be smart. These are the fundamentals you taught me. I watched. And I agree, some of you don't play big enough. But most people, they just keep coming and keep coming. So keep that in mind. I mean, am I wrong? Like, we've seen this happen before.
Fortunately, they can't go out and buy 10 houses on no salary like the old days. And when people ask, because people are on here now saying, it's a crash, it's going to crash. It's not going to crash this time because the mortgages have been controlled. What we may have is a dip, which in my 44 years, it's been hills and valleys. So we're eventually, of course, we're going to have a dip. Are we going to have a crash? No, because people aren't buying 15 houses on $1. The mortgages are not allowed to give out 15 mortgages on $1. They were doing 125% mortgages, where the buyer got 25% back.
Totally agree. But, if I'm a person who made millions on the stock market,
that's going to take a
millions on crypto, millions on real estate.
Cash it out and buy a house.
You don't even have to cash it all out. Just take some money off the table. Be diversified. Be smart. Because to the moon forever, it's
can't
unsustainable. It's unsustainable. Would I have paid if I was looking for my own house? For the record, I just looked down and he has shorts on. Just for the record.
Oh,
just for the record.
You had to tell.
No one will ever know. They're not going to see it. I'm surprised you even have shorts on. But
you had to tell.
I just looked down. Know your strengths. Know your strengths. Understand your finances. Understand where the most disciplined. I will say this over and over and over again. I don't care if I'm a broker record. The most disciplined person in the room will win. Because you have to be disciplined. If you if you jump in late or jump in early, we talked about this last week, just be disciplined. I am going to watch. An opportunity goes by. If it's a 7 out of 10 opportunity, maybe I let it go by. If it's an 8 out of 10 opportunity, now I'm interested. If it's a 9, I'm probably going to do something with it. If it's a 10, I hope I get an opportunity to do something with it. This is basically what I'm telling you in a nutshell, right? Be disciplined. Don't just jump. We used to joke that the investor in this craziness, the person who tried to flip houses, they bought back in your street, or they bought the one with functional obsolescence, so they bought the one who had a 2-bedroom instead of a 3, because they were like, everything's going to go up. Those are the ones that got caught.
Yep.
You still have to be disciplined.
Yes, you do. So you do, and if you're backing a busy street and it's the only one left,
you better have a great view.
Think about that is all I'm saying.
Exactly. And so that's the thing, and that's where I'm at, Pops. I'm looking at this like, I know I may lose out on some opportunity, but I'm already in the game. We own a business, right?
We're in the game. We own houses. We own.
And can we sustain if the market dropped? How high is your blood pressure going to go? Not at all. Even in a bad down market, our agent's going to sell houses, maybe more houses. We're still going to be fine. We're
That's
still going to be able to take care of all of our people.
Right. Even in the bad market, when houses were on the market, short sale foreclosure, the investors then came in and swooped in and bought everything. So even in a bad market, there's still real estate is always going on.
But if there's one change and you're sweating, then you're over leveraged.
Right. And I will say, if you're thinking of listing your house and you're thinking of selling, this is the time, because if you have a pool home, it's getting nice and hot. That pool looks really exciting. But if you're thinking of doing it and it's in your brain, now's the time to do it.
Do you have a number yet?
Number what?
We have gone way past the number that your house is worth that you would consider selling.
Oh, do I have a number?
Do you have a number yet?
Yeah, I do. So my birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
And
You'll be 6'9" on 6'9".
I didn't say my age, but you did.
He'll be 69 on June 9th.
And this is the thing. I'm not moving again. All right? So age is a factor. Dave and I, in our first 10 years, did 5 houses. Between us,
5?
Well, I'm saying me and then you, probably 13, 14 houses. My sister put our address in the phone book in Velcro because she was throwing it out.
Address in the phone book in Velcro. If that isn't, I'm going to be 69, I don't know what is.
Well, I knew you'd enjoy
Address
it.
in the phone book.
I knew you'd enjoy
in
it.
Velcro.
But understand.
Because there's going to be a piece of paper attached in Velcro. Maybe white out.
Right.
Maybe she erased it. Maybe she has a phone book.
She has
Continue.
But I'm the youngest sibling, so you could imagine. I'm also the only one on Facebook. So
True.
What I'm saying is this: is that stop making fun of me because I'll beat the hell out of you after the show.
I'm not saying a word.
Right.
Words don't even have to be said.
What I'm saying is this: money is a beautiful thing, but at a certain stage in your life, whether it goes to 200,000 or $1 million, it's my home, and that's where I'm staying.
Yeah. What's the cost of freedom? Right. So it is all a reframe. You know, a couple of my friends are redoing their houses in my community, and they're coming out gorgeous. And I'm looking at my house, and I'm like, wow.
It is redone, your house.
Yeah, but there's things I would have liked. Like if I would have had time, I would have flattened all the walls. But I see.
What is flattening a wall?
The stucco. I would have got rid of all the stucco.
Oh, you would have went to smooth stucco.
Smooth stucco.
That's like you have in here.
In here. That's my biggest regret. Other than that, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I have a newborn. I have a 9 and an 8-year-old. And we have over tons of kids all the time. I said, maybe this is totally fine the way it is rather than having this house. So I reframed it. We got rid of a ton of stuff. And I said, do I really need more space? I could change this and I can change that. You do get in the curse of more. Right?
You have the gigantic pool, which you have like 15 kids in.
Municipal pool. It's a muni. It's 50 by 25.
Right.
Crazy.
Was filled.
I did not build it.
With like 15 or 20 kids this weekend.
Not 50. It was about 10.
Whatever. So what I'm saying is it fits. Unless you have 2 or 3 more kids, you're okay.
So what's the story? The story is this. Stack some chips, baby. Stack some chips for freedom. Stack some chips. Offense, defense, which we talked about in the past. Have enough defense to cover as many offensive
I've always
plays.
stacked chips.
Yeah, you probably stacked too many. And I'm learning. This is where you got to learn. He starts it. I grow it. My kids will blow it.
Where'd you get that from?
That's the saying, right?
I don't like it.
3 generations. The first one sows it. The second grows it, and the third blows it.
I'm gonna have to talk to you.
We're having discussions all the time. We understand business. But even now, I'm sitting here like, all right, I got chips stacked. I'm waiting for an opportunity. We're investing in Urban Nest heavily. That's when you invest, not when things fall apart. You invest when things are good, right? Investing in the coaching and consulting Infinite Path company,
yep.
And waiting for the opportunities to come around. And I will not be on the sidelines when things go on sale, even if they go only 10 to 20% off. I'm buying. So when the money isn't in flow, I'll be in flow. And then, like I said, I'll be the old bull who walks down and takes all of the female cows, not just one. So, all right, guys. That's where we're at for today. Of course, we got a Holden to the moon with crypto. I wish the best for you, my friend. And what's your parting shot?
My parting
Spoke
shot.
about a lot.
Yeah,
I brought it today. I brought you a lot. I'm glad you came here ready to go.
Even
the gold mics.
Even you told everyone I have shorts
mic.
on. My parting shot, and it's nothing. You're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Is stop looking at everything around you and do what you want to be happy. So if buying a new house and you have to pay $30,000 makes you happy, you're okay, do it. If staying where you are is happy, be happy. Because what I did learn from the pandemic is appreciate going out, appreciate the small things, and after sitting in the house for 1 year, I am going to be happy.
This isn't my parting shot. I want to give it out, but I want to expand upon yours because I really liked it. Don't get stuck in that FOMO, that fear of missing out. Buy because you want to buy, right? Don't keeping up with the Joneses. That's what you're basically saying. Do what makes you happy.
Happy,
right? There's so much insecurity in people who are very successful, very beautiful people, very smart people, and they're so focused on other people they miss out on the opportunity and just the grace and joy of their own lives. And
an example is like, let's say if you're in the lakes and some people come up, friends, and go, oh, the lakes, it was nice in the day, go by in Summerlin.
Yep.
You are happy walking through the lakes. You are happy splashing in your pool, in your house. You stay there and you enjoy and you be happy who and what you are.
I think your second part was about intentionality and appreciation, which even Cara from Lawyer's Title, a little shout out to Cara, a great post today about, I think, people losing that. There was such I don't say everyone was nice because there was political division and whatnot, but there was time to spend with each other. And even when we were sitting in the house, I'd say to Angie, I don't want to lose what we have now with the girls and each other, where we're really connected, we're really present with each other. And here we are, maybe open 3 or 4 months, and it's insanity. So I think that's what you're saying too, with the present intentionality. So that's my paraphrasing for him.
Thanks, son.
I think you did a good job.
Thanks.
My parting shot is this, and I was saying this, I go walks every day. Trust the voice inside, which is your gut, which is your soul. Some of you it's God, some of you it's universe. Just trust it. And that's kind of an extension of what you're saying is, you have an unlimited supply of you. No matter how much money you lose, you can work and get it back. You have an unlimited supply of love. You can always give it and give it. The only thing holding you back is potentially time, which should give you a sense of urgency, like, why am I holding back? I literally can't lose. I literally can't lose in life as long as I got 1 chip and a chair, which is a poker term of I'm still in the game if I have 1 chip and a chair. And the beauty is you can lose all your chips and you have access to you where you can be like, all right, here's more chips, right? Unless you're dead, you have unlimited chips. So if you know this, like, I can play at this game of life for as long as I want, as long as I'm alive. You just have to make sure that you continue playing the game and you don't let the fear of failure and the fear of losing and feeling that you're not good enough preventing you from sitting at the table. If you're gonna go. Trust you. No apologies, no permission from anybody else. Just go and have faith in yourself so you can play this game with love, joy, peace, right?
Yeah.
Rather than this scarcity of I only have so many chips.
And laughter.
Exactly. Joy. Laughter. So play the game. You cannot lose. The only way you lose this game is if you don't play it. So you want to invest, do it intelligently and go. Trust yourself. You want to sit on the sidelines and wait, do it firmly and own it. But just trust the voice. You cannot lose, my friends. All right. That's all we got today. What do you think?
All good.
Good way to end, huh?
I like my gold mic.
All right. We will see you in 2 weeks. We're taking next week off. And that, my friends, is the Dave and Dave Show. Have a great day.
Can I show them my show?
No. Yeah, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see that.